Welcome to part 2 of the video. I'm going to start off painting the shadow side of the building. So I mixed up a color using alizarin crimson and yellow ochre, and I'm going to paint this on the side of the building that's in the shadow. Now when I take it up to that tree, I want to just soften the edges with a clean brush. The brush doesn't need to have a lot of water on it, and just make sure that it's clean and you'll get a nice soft edge there. So you can see that's what I'm doing right here. I'm just softening some of those edges. Okay, I got that done, and now I need to mix up more of that color, so I'm picking up alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, and adding some water to it to get it nice and juicy. The key to painting shadows is to use a very juicy paint so that you can move along quickly without having to go back and add more paint or mix up more paint. And you have to be very bold here. Now this is the cast shadow from the large tree that's off to the right hand side. You don't see the tree in the painting, which makes it kind of interesting because the viewer has to figure out, what is going on here, and the longer they look at it, the more they realize, oh, there must be a big tree or something casting these long shadows on the front of this building. So here you have to paint pretty quickly. You need to have a lot of paint on your brush, and you need to move along fast enough so that your edges don't dry as you're coming down the paper. And by leaving little bits showing here and there, that's going to give the illusion of this being a cast shadow from a tree. As I move down closer to the tops of the umbrellas, I want to put a darker shadow behind them just so that they stand out even more. So I added some blue to that mixture. So again, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and a touch of yellow ochre. Here you can see the reference photo, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, that nice cast shadow on that building. So I'm going to move to my smaller brush just so that I have a little bit more control when I'm working in these areas, because I don't want to cover up any of those great highlights that I already have going on. So I need to paint around the umbrellas and around the figures. I'm still working with that darker violet mix, so it's alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and a little yellow ochre. Now here again I'm softening edges, so my brush is clean and it's damp, not too wet, and I'm just touching those edges so that I can get some lost edges. You'll notice I used a lighter value for the shadows on the far left side because that area is a little further away from me and I don't want the viewer's eye to be drawn to it. It's not really in the focal area, so I don't want too much of a contrast back there. So I bring this shadow down pretty much down to the edge of the sidewalk. And now I'm going to put the cast shadows on the umbrellas. I don't want all of the umbrellas to be in the sunshine. I just want a section of them, and that's going to really make that one area stand out. So I'm using a lighter version of that shadow color, and I used some cerulean blue with the alizarin crimson and yellow ochre just to make pretty neutral color. It's almost gray, but it leans a little toward the blue side. It's light enough in value that these umbrellas are still going to read as white. They're just going to read as white umbrellas that are in the shade. So see, I'm covering all of the white and the red except for that one umbrella that is in my focal area. And by leaving that the pure white of the paper, that makes that stand out, and it pulls the viewer's eye right to there. So while this shadow area is still damp, I'm going to put in some warm color for faces. And I'm using cadmium red and a touch of cad orange mixed together. And I'm dropping these in. This is not they're not very detailed. They're basically just blobs of color that I'm putting in there. And you know, they're going to run and merge with the damp color that's still there. You really don't need to add a lot of detail to your figures. They will read as figures as long as you have the general shape correct. So this step is just about done. I need to let this dry, and then I'm going to continue it in the next video. So we'll see you in video 3.